Patriotism is a common trait amongst superheroes. Many of the heroes with roots dating back to the golden age of comics often embody it, and it's something so integral to their personality that it's hard not to imagine them picking up their mantle and fighting for justice for their people or their home country. So today we're taking a look at some of those heroes with our list of the top 10 patriotic superheroes. Note that we're going beyond just associating patriotism with superheroes steeped in American culture. We're looking at heroes who are patriotic of their homeland regardless of what country they may be from. So let's jump in. And at number 10, Liberty Bell. Liberty Bell may not be one of the most popular characters, or even most memorable ones these days, but her history is pretty darn interesting, and very much steeped in American patriotism. Libby Lawrence's powers were linked to the ringing of the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, her hometown. But before she even got her powers, she showed an immense amount of resilience and courage during World War II. Even though she first debuted in 1942, we would get a better idea of her history thanks to All-Star Squadron issue 61 in 1986. For starters, she was in the 1936 Berlin Olympics, where she won 3 gold medals in swimming. Then, in World War II, she was stationed in Poland as a personal secretary to her father, who was in the military. When he's killed in an air raid by the Nazis, she flees to Amsterdam, which later falls into Nazi control, causing her to make arrangements to be smuggled into France. At the Battle of Dunkirk, she gets into a boat that's shot out of the water, leaving her to swim the English Channel all the way to England, where she's hailed as the Miracle of Dunkirk. She heads back to Philly, where she visits the Independence Hall, where a worker named Tom gives her a replica of the bell, which she uses to gain her powers and fight back evil, including Nazis. Up next, number 9, Yankee Poodle. Yup, it's a dog. Created in New Teen Titans issue 16 of 1982, Yankee Poodle is, in fact, a poodle, all jazzed out in the red, white, and blue. Living on Earthsea, she's part of an alternate world that has a whole bunch of anthropomorphic superhero animals, and is part of the Zoo Crew. Now, if you've seen any of our alternate versions of superhero lists, you're probably more than familiar with the Zoo Crew, a team of superheroes that are basically the DC animal parody version of the Justice League and other heroes from the DCU. Her powers consist of animal magnetism, in which she can shoot semi-solidified electromagnetic stars from one of her hands, or paws rather. It repels objects, and then her other hand or paw shoots stripes that attract objects. And at number 8, Black Panther. When one initially thinks of patriotic superheroes, Black Panther may not be the first character to come to mind, but his loyalty to his home of Wakanda is undeniable. Aside from literally being the nation's king, most of Black Panther's actions are done for the good of Wakanda, to protect his people, and to protect the culture and legacy that they've created. If the recent Black Panther film showed us anything, we can see why the lineage of Black Panthers wouldn't want to put their home and their people in any sort of danger, even if that meant isolating them from the rest of the world. But T'Challa aims to bridge that gap. Regardless of their feelings towards quiet and hidden sovereignty, T'Challa in the comics has always been a politician first, superhero second, with those two roles often colliding to give us storylines of epic proportions when Black Panther is concerned. Up next, number 7, Captain Canuck. While the US has some obvious choices for patriotic heroes that we'll be touching on later in this list, there's some other heroes who represent the values of other countries that have popped up in panels over the years, like Canada's own Captain Canuck. First published in 1975, Captain Canuck was the first successful Canadian comic book since the end of the Golden Age following World War II. 3 different characters have held the mantle over the years, with the first gaining his powers from contact with aliens, and all 3 working to keep Canada safe from the likes of international threats and conspiracy. Speaking of Canadian superheroes, our next number is a character who is often confused with Captain Canuck due to similar outfits. And at number 6 is Guardian. While Captain Canuck was a product of independent publishers outside of the big fish in the comics industry, Guardian was crafted by John Bryan for Marvel. Intended to be the Canadian version of Captain America, the hero made his debut in X-Men issue 109. Co-written by Chris Claremont. Marvel's no stranger to having Canadian heroes in their comics. Both Wolverine and Deadpool are also from the North. Anywho, the character was originally supposed to be named the Canadian Shield, after the famous rock formation, but Guardian ended up sticking despite the initial protest against the name. So, Guardian has enhanced physical attributes, is capable of flight, can create a personal force field, and has the ability to fire energy blasts. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby!
He would even appear in an issue of the Uncanny X-Men that featured Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, our current Prime Minister's daddy, in a storyline titled Chaos in Canada. And at number 5, Captain Britain. From Canada to its monarch country, let's look at a hero who's repping all things British, Captain Britain. Initially intended to be an exclusive for the British comics market, this Marvel character has been written by the likes of iconic writers Chris Claremont and Alan Moore. Alan Davis, the artist who revamped the character in later years, stated, I quote, "I decided to base his costume on military uniforms. If you've ever seen the mounted guards outside of Buckingham Palace, you'll recognize the components. The white leggings and the tall boots with the flaps over the knees were easy. Often Captain Britain's stories were political commentaries, which led to the title being passed on to Alan Moore. According to the character's lore, each Earth in the Marvel multiverse has a version of Captain Britain, who upholds Britain's laws. Up next, number 4, Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam was one of the many superheroes that emerged during World War II, created by legend Will Eisner. First appearing in National Comics issue 1, published by Quality Comics at the time, the character had a whole lot of epic abilities to draw from in battle. Superhuman strength, enhanced speed, invulnerability, limited clairvoyance, size alteration, and the ability to transport himself and others to the Heartland, which was a pocket dimension. Uncle Sam was initially depicted as a mystical being, the spirit of a deceased patriotic soldier who had fought in the American War of Independence. His heyday was most definitely during the 40s. In the 50s, DC had gotten the rights to the character through its acquisition of Quality Comics, and while Uncle Sam has popped up several times since then, it seems that his glory days may be behind him. Side note, Uncle Sam was also featured in a story in National Comics that was released just before the tragedy at Pearl Harbor that featured the military base being bombed, an eerie coincidence that some believe predicted the future, despite the enemies being German in the comic and not Japanese. In at number 3, Superman. Another figure who was rallied around during World War II was DC's Superman. While the character these days has very much branched off into representing different kinds of ideologies, much of who he is today was rooted in the stories he was featured in during the Golden Age, along with the US war propaganda that he was heavily present in. This was the age in which he became the ideal man, the Ubermensch, the role model for what masculinity, bravery, and the American way should be. He appeared on the front lines of the fight long before the US entered the war, and when the country did, he was often used, and sometimes paired with Batman, to sell war bonds and rally national pride. There were even Superman comics produced specifically for men in the army, to help improve literacy amongst troops, who are often required to operate complex machinery. For years, Superman has been seen as the all-American man, wholesome, brave, and strong, and many associate his red and blue colors with the red and blue of the country. In our number 2 spot, we have Miss America. First appearing in Timely Comics Marvel Mystery Comics issue 49 in 1943, Miss America was created in an attempt to attract female readers to comics the way that Wonder Woman had in 1941. The version of the character at the time was Madeline Joyce, a socially aware teenaged heiress who had superhuman strength, flight, enhanced stamina, and at one point X-ray vision. But perhaps the more patriotic version of the character came in the second woman to don the mantle of Miss America, America Chavez, the first Latin American LGBTQ character to star in an ongoing series. Despite being cancelled, the series received rave reviews, with critics lauding the comic for representing a brand of a new generation of readers and superheroes that accurately depicted young Americans. Also worth noting, America, the character, even went back in time to punch Hitler herself before Cap could get that punch in. And that's pretty damn great. And last but not least, in at number 1, Captain America. Yeah. Captain America embodies every virtue that American patriotism strives to uphold, despite that unfortunate stint as a Hydra operative in Secret Empire. Yes, we know it wasn't really him, but sorry, it was still pretty bad. Regardless of that, Cap is the ultimate American soldier through and through. For starters, the character's first appearance featured him on the cover of his debut issue, punching Adolf Hitler, which at the time was the most patriotic thing one could do, despite the US not even being in the war at that point. And if recent social media trends featuring superheroes punching Nazis after those horrible marches in Charlottesville taught us anything, tackling those who threaten our freedom is still pretty high on the priority list. Steve Rogers was a character who, against all odds, got what he desired most: the chance to stand up and fight for his country, and fight for what was right. His sense of morality has become an integral part to the character's personality over the years, an ethic code of conduct that continues to inspire Americans to this day. Alright, there we have it, friends. Which of these heroes do you think is the most patriotic? Do you think there was a hero that we really should have included on this list? Should we do a part 2? Or perhaps a list on the most patriotic supervillains? Because yeah, that exists too. Let us know all of your thoughts and feels in those comments below. If you dug this video, why not hit that like button? And hey, subscribe while you're at it. We've got plenty of great lists on your favorite superheroes and supervillains, or superheroes you've never even heard of, all on our channel. So hop on over by clicking that playlist that's currently flashing on your screen. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys all in the next video.